Hello everybody, welcome back to another After Effects CS6 tutorial. I'm your host, Buddy Blackford, and today I'm going to go over a couple extra effects dealing with lighting with you that can help add a little bit more to your scene and add to your repertoire of tools to get things done faster and make things look a little better. So your client wants you to add a little bit more lighting effects to this logo, into this scene right here, so that they can put it into put it into their video for their business or something like that, whatever. So I'm going to show you a couple more lighting effects that will kind of spice this up a little. And I showed you the CC light burst to help show like an intense light effect. Now I'm going to show a couple more subtle lighting effects. We're going to use CC light sweep and the lens flare. Now I'm going to put both of these on an adjustment layer so that we can affect everything in the scene. So right now all I have is a picture, and then I've got a couple shapes that I transformed from vectors, but they could also just be vectors too, and text. So that's all that there is in this scene. So I turn the camera off and the key light and fill light. I'm just using those for other tutorials that I'm doing, and I just don't want to delete them out because I need them. So what I'm going to do is add an adjustment layer. And now the way you do that is go to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer. And the adjustment layer affects everything that is below it. So we're going to keep that up here at the top. The effects we're going to add, I'll delete these out so you can see where they are and add them right in. The first one we're going to add is called a lens flare. And what a lens flare is pretty much when you're using a real camera, sometimes it creates an image of like circles kinda that are like faded out based on the sun. The sun creates them. So I'm gonna go to Layer or Effect, Generate, and then Lens Flare. Or you could search for it over here in the effects and presets. I'll do that for the next one. So we've got our lens flare here, and you can see what it has done. Added some type of flare looking thing here. Now there's a couple different flares that come native to After Effects, and that's under the lens type right here. So this is the 50 to 300 millimeter zoom one, and you can see it's got some red color in there, and this one's kind of like rainbowish. You got some yellow. We got the 35 millimeter prime. Now that's a little bit different. We got the big greenish, bluish lens flare there, and then we got the red circle with the like the hot spot in the middle. And then we got the 105 millimeter prime, and I like this one a lot because it's a lot less subtle. So I think we're going to use this one for this scene, right, for this comp right here, so that the main focus will be on the logo instead of being on the type, or yeah, on the lens flare, I mean. So we've got our flare center here, which is the same as using the crosshairs on anything else. We can adjust where we want it to be, or we can grab this little crosshairs here and just drag it around. Now the farther you drag out, the farther apart the lens flare is going to be, and the closer you drag it in, the brighter and the closer the lens flare is going to be. So now if you want to study how lens flares work, just look up on Google and see how a scene like this would interact in real life with a real camera. Or you can go out on a day like this, if you're lucky, if you get a day like this, and use your camera and see how things really work like that. So this is how we're going to set it up. I put the flare center up here by where this light is coming out of, to give it like a downward effect, because we're going to be looking up at the camera. Now you can adjust your brightness here if you would like, and as you can see, it kind of like brightens the whole scene. You can go crazy with it, or just make it a little subtle. And then we got the blend with original, and with a lens flare you don't really want to blend with original too much because it fades away quite fast. So something like maybe like 10% or something like that, maybe 20. So there we got the lens flare going on. Now, as we can see in the picture here, there's a couple of light beams coming out of the sky. Now, your client wants you to have a nice hard one coming down through the middle, and he just wants you to make a beam that way. So there's a couple of ways you could do it. If you watch the other tutorials, you could take a white solid or something like that and take down the opacity and make a mask and feather it out to make your own beam, or you could just add the effect CC light beam. So if I come over here and type in CC light sweep is what I meant, not light beam, CC light sweep, and bring that over, it gives you a beam actually, and this beam can be moved around like this with using the light center, and it will go from left to right across the edges here. And you can see it interacts with the color here in the scene to make it, which is pretty cool, I think, and it makes it more realistic looking. You can change the direction it's going like this using this direction button, obviously. So let's get it right here in the middle, and we'll change our direction up, so maybe it'll go straight up and down. And this is what we said the client wanted, so a beam that goes right down the middle here. Now, it's pretty subtle, and it's going over top of the logo, and because it's over top on the adjustment layer. Now, there's a couple other things that we can switch here. The shape, there's a couple different ones here. We got sharp, which is pretty tightly packed in, and that's basically it. It's packed in, and I guess it's kind of like a sharp looking one. And then we got smooth, which is a little bit more faded out and thicker. And then we've got linear, which is kind of like a sharp and smooth combined, in my opinion. So I think I'm going to stick with smooth because it gives us like an aura feel. You got your width here that you can adjust. Now it doesn't even look like a light beam anymore, but it added some light into the scene. Let's go back to whatever it was, 50. We got our sweep intensity. Now, as you can see, it increases the intensity of the light. So right now it's pretty good, I think. We got the edge intensity. So I'm going to bring this out so we can see what edge intensity is. Just click on my effect, bring it over. Now if you look at the top up here, you can see that the edge is pretty bright going on here. Now if we mess with this edge intensity, it's going to go away. So we probably don't want that in this type of scene, so we'll leave the edge intensity down to 0. We got the edge thickness also, which let me turn that edge intensity back up, and then you can see how the thickness works there. So put this back down. We can obviously change the light color if we want. Oops, there goes my effect. Just grab the crosshairs and drag it, not just the whole effect. We can change our color. Now if we really wanted to make it like the color of the actual light rays that are coming out, just click on your eyedropper tool and then maybe just click on the light that's coming out there. And then we've got our light reception here, which is kind of like our blending mode of the light. So there's the composite, which puts it over top, and it doesn't make it interact with the lights in the back so much, like the brights. And then we got our cutout here, which kind of just like cuts it out, which is not too useful sometimes, but if you were putting it on a solid and you just want it to be cut out that way and add it over the top, you could use cutout in that effect. So there's your two extra lighting effects that I like to show you. We'll put this onto composite so it looks like the other ones. And we have added another beam, and then we've added a little bit more effect with our lens flare here. So this is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. So that's how you can add a little bit more effect with other lighting effects, and I'll show you a couple more in the next tutorial, so be sure to stay tuned for that one. Thanks for watching this one, and I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.